When it comes to real world survival, a fire starter like this could save your life. So today I'm going to show you how to make an all-weather fire starter that burns at over 1200 degrees Fahrenheit with all natural materials in the comfort of your own home so you can have it ready when you hit the trail. All right, boys, let's go. Here is our ingredients. Now, if you've trained with me, you know I am not a big fan of cotton balls and Vaseline. And that's because petroleum jelly only burns at around 800 degrees. Now, pine resin like this, you can gather in the field, or you could just get a bag like this from Amazon for dirt cheap. Will burn at least 1200 degrees, around 12 to 1400 degrees. And beeswax, my friend, again, you can get dirt cheap off Amazon, or if you don't like Amazon, any kind of online store, will burn at 14 to 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. That's double what the petroleum jelly does. And let's face it, when will we need fire starters? What do we need them for? When conditions are poor. Okay, if you just throw a match and some dry tinder, it's no big deal. But fire becomes its most difficult when it's most needed, when it's cold, when it's windy, when it's rainy. So we want to use high quality ingredients like this that can get wet materials, damp materials started. Do you agree? So I have my pine resin. I have my pot. That doesn't matter if it gets, all messed up, though. You can clean it. I have my beeswax. I have cotton and, hey, a little cardboard. I have a tin to store it in if I need. And I have my mortar and pestle here to powder up the pine resin to make it easier to melt. Look at this big, beautiful chunk of pine resin. And believe it or not, this is really, really easy to powder. It's got kind of like a rock candy consistency. See that? It's going to dissolve a lot easier in the pan if you break it up first. Again, a whole chunk will melt down just fine, but this is going to save you a lot of time and smokiness in the house. And here you go. A nice, easy to make fine powder. And you guys that like making beeswax salves, you want to make a pine resin salve, right? An antibacterial salve for wounds, all that, or treating wood. This will also make it blend in with the beeswax a lot easier. All right, let's add it to our muck pan. This is just a little cheap steel pan, camping pan I got that, I use for stuff like this. This stuff smokes pretty easy if you overheat it. So what I'm going to do, and it doesn't really hurt it as a fire starter, maybe if you're making glue, right? But as a fire starter, it doesn't really hurt it, but I don't want all the smoke in the house. So I have the vent on the overhead fan, and I put it in my cast iron here to just lower the heat a little bit, get less smoke, and to make sure it doesn't catch on fire. If you heat this stuff too heavy, it will go into flame. You can't really use water to put it out. It's better to have some baking soda or something like that right here by the stove, because you definitely don't want to add water. If this catches fire, you want to let it either burn out or hit it with some baking soda, or cover it with a lid, okay, or have a lid ready to suffocate the oxygen out, right? So that's why I'm regulating the heat here, because pine resin is very, very volatile, and we don't want any accidents. And we definitely don't want to get this on our skin when it's melted. There's just no getting it off until it's dry, so it'll burn the heck out of you. And you see, after just a few seconds, it's already starting to melt there. So I'll give this a minute, and we'll get back to it. All right, we are good and melted here, so I am going to take my 100% cotton round, and I am going to toss it in and let it absorb. Give it a flip there. Woo. There we go. Now, this is actually going to dry pretty quickly. So I'll get it over here. I'll let it drip. Wave it around. I'll give it about a minute or so. And when it's not too tacky to the touch, when it doesn't stick to my fingers, so bad, but it's still, pretty malleable. I'm going to go ahead and roll it up into the lovely little shape you see here. Okay, I'll say that's dry enough and ready to work with. Okay, see, it's not sticking too much to my fingers. If it's early, the cotton will stick to my fingers real bad, but it's still malleable. So what we do is we just roll it up into a nice, tight fire starter. And you can fray a little out of the tip if you want to make it light a little easier, like a wick. Nice and dense. There you go. Just pine resin and cotton. Now we'll do one with cardboard. Cup of noodles, the San Francisco treat. Is that how it goes? Whatever. Yeah. I want to pour this on your face. Let that drip off. Now again, we just give it about 30, 35, Again, let's give it 30 seconds or so. Ah! Okay. That seems good. We will test these out at the end of the video and see what does better, the cotton or the cardboard. There we go. All right, gang, now it is time for the beeswax. Now this burns hotter, but I feel like the pine resin, lights a little bit easier. So we're going to put these to the test afterwards so you can see them side by side. I'll tell you what, these materials are so easy to obtain, and they're not cost prohibitive. They're really inexpensive. I'll put links on the video. This is a great project for families. You want to teach your kids about nature. You want to teach them about science and chemistry. So this is a great family project. Real easy to do. So you can use paraffin wax as well. It doesn't have to be pure beeswax, but beeswax actually burns a little hotter than paraffin. There you go. Okay, the smoke isn't too bad, right? But let's keep the vent on so we're not just sucking it up straight to our lungs, right? Do this in a ventilated space. And here we go. Our beeswax is ready. It's yellow beeswax, right? So it's less filtered and it smells so good. Here we go. Let that suck all up. Look, it absorbs a lot easier than the pine resin. And I roll it up afterward to make sure that it gets all soaked up, right? That's why I roll it up afterwards. So every layer absorbs tons of the substrate, the beeswax or pine resin, right? So it burns a lot better. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to let it cool a little bit on my nice board here. When it gets not too hot to the touch, not too sticky, I'll roll it up and we'll have, again, a nice little fire starter. And here we go. So the beeswax will stay more malleable even after it cools. Oh. Maybe I'll see it sticking to my fingers like that. Maybe I did it a little too early. Bang. Okay, maybe we'll just call this one a wash. I'll just ball it up. This one will be a ball fire starter. Still gonna burn real good. Alrighty. See, when the cotton doesn't stick to your hands too much, then it's ready. We will roll this one up as well. Again, if you're going to use a fire steel, you want to make it easy to light, something like that, you can make a little bit of a wick at the top. Now for beeswax and cardboard. So this is the cotton from a vitamin bottle I had. And I'm going to make a bit of a, I guess, a super starter with that one. We're going to make a big fatty. And we're going to mix the pine resin here, the powdered resin, with the beeswax. And look how quickly that pine resin dissolves in the beeswax once it's powdered. Added enough to make it about 50-50 there. So what you're seeing is pretty much 50-50 solution. And for you guys that would like to make salves, if you wanted to turn this into a pine resin salve, once again, I would just add oil to this. But that is for another video. And here we go. Gonna make a big old fatty. Look at that. Don't worry, guys. Once I become a really big YouTuber, I'll have someone holding the camera and stands and better lighting. Or not. Look at that. It's so cool looking. I love this stuff. I don't know about you. I love this stuff. I love the tactile feel of it. I love the smell. I love the hands-on stuff. I love the research and the science. I love the home projects. You know, it's like a lab. And if you guys do too, like and subscribe. We're gonna do so much of this. And if you haven't seen my video on pine resin torches, go check it out. I'll put the link in this video. It's really fun. I actually use stinging nettle fibers, so we got super natural with it. So this one, I don't know what kind of shape should I do. It's so big. Should I do a big fat ball? Ooh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go for a cone, unless it's too big of a pain in the butt to form. I feel like with a cotton like this, I can shape it in the cone like an incense. You know, get that convective shape, right? We'll see. All right, so we'll do our best to shape this big bad boy. The colossal starter. There we go. I guess that's a bit of a cone. All right, so here are our fire starters, our beeswax, our resin, our beeswax and resin. And I'll tell you what, the cotton starters, I'm going to tell you they're likely going to burn a lot longer because they absorb a lot more of the material. But we're showing you some options so you can experiment and have fun with home. So let's get these bad boys outside and burning so we can, you know, see how long they light. All right, gang, place your bets now. Which one is going to burn the longest? I mean, we know this guy's going to burn the longest, right? And which one is going to light the easiest? Let's start with the pine resin. Oop, not lit. I'm going to call that lit. 418. Pine resin and beeswax. Ooh, that lit a lot easier, didn't it? Look at that. Fire burns up, right? So I'm going to get that going. Just the beeswax. Do, 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 do. This is definitely the longest to light. Oop. And it went out. There we go. Now we're going. Once they get going, they're a lot harder to put out in the wind, especially the pine wax and beeswax blend. Looks like that might be a winner. 419. Real easy. Look at the pine resin just going, boy. So what it seems like is the pine resin and beeswax, we got an easier light and perhaps a longer burn time. Look at the flame length on that resin though, on the pine resin. That stuff is really going. That'll help you get your fire started. That flame length is really important when we're trying to get fires going in the rain, believe it or not. So the resin and wax mix has started burning a lot more vigorously. Again, look at the flame length on the pine. But the flame length on the resin wax mix is really taking off. And you know what? I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but now I'm putting them side by side like this. I got to say, the pine resin and beeswax looks like the clear winner here. Big flame length, easy to light, longer burn time. And of course, look at that cone. Yeah, buddy. I think that's going to go for a long time because that shape too, right? It's not just going to get consumed all at once. It's going to throw that flame length up there, get that fire started. Oh, looks like we got to get the cardboard with just beeswax lit again. You'll see the cardboard has the smallest flame, longest burn time, but smallest flame. It has more of a tendency to go out. Again, that's because it soaks up less of the material. So cotton is going to be a lot better than the cardboard. Now the cotton that is just beeswax, you'll see is giving off the least amount of smoke. It is cleaner burning than the pine resin. Okay, 424, we're basically going to call that pine resin and cotton out. That is such a small flame. Might have maybe a minute left. And look, the cardboard ones keep going out. Cotton is a lot better. And look at this. This is the cotton with pine and beeswax mix, 424. Still going, almost out. But look how much is left on just the cotton and beeswax. Oh, there we go. There we go. The cotton with the pine resin and beeswax is out. But the cotton with the beeswax. So we don't have the high flame length like with the pine, but remember, the beeswax burns hotter. And look how much longer this is burning. Look how much cotton is still left on there. 425. Go, go, go. Look at the flame length from that mega starter. Huge flame length. We got about a 10-inch flame length off that big wad of cotton with the pine resin and beeswax. We are at 426, still going. And that wind is just not really affecting it. There you go. 433, and we just lost our pine wax and resin mix, but look at this bad boy going. The super starter is still burning. Bang, I think we got a few more minutes to go on that too. This will save your life in the outdoors. Doesn't matter if it's windy, doesn't matter if it's rainy, if you're using wet material, damp material, you can't always find really good dry firewood. This is a lifesaver. All right, so it looks like the pine resin gave us a little bit of higher flame length and more intense flame. The beeswax definitely burns hotter and longer. The mix lights the easiest and burns very long. There's a happy medium there. And the cone shape for the win. The incredible 15-minute plus burn time on that. I mean, you could kind of warm yourself by that fire on its own. So I hope you like, I hope you subscribe, I hope we can make a bunch more videos like this together.